This video is showing you how to make this little Christmas ornament, Santa. And I did this one a little different than normal because I did felt for the face and did not decide to bead over it. When I started this video, which is kind of fun, I start the video showing you how to make it, and I film this at the end after he's done. So this is what I make in this video, and I was originally going to bead his face, but I like the look of it without. Anyway, I hope you'll enjoy this. It's a lot of fun. I was very excited to make him. I want to make an ornament a week for Christmas in July, and after this I'll be making a Christmas ornament or two a month till we get to November, and we'll go back to once a week. But I have some other fun ornaments made up, put aside for you guys that I'm going to be doing, both for Christmas and non-Christmas. I want to get back to doing what I started this channel to do the ornaments and to make jewelry, and I got into showing the Goodwill boxes, which I will continue to do, but I want to get back to my roots and start creating again. So I thought I'll start making some ornaments for my tree and sharing them with you. So everything will be on my blog, which I talk to you about at the end. But anyway, I hope you enjoy this video, and I hope you like this little guy. I had so much fun making him, and I'm excited to share him with you. Okay, so let's get started. Now, the company I bought my cookie cutter from is this one here. And I will try to remember to put a link to this cookie cutter in my description below. I like to give credit to the person that I bought it from so they can make sales if somebody wants this cookie cutter. And then what you'll see there is how they show the cookie decorated. So what I did is I printed that out so that I can have sort of a reference. Now, of course, a beaded ornament will look absolutely nothing like this, but it gives me some idea of where things go when you have a blank like this. You kind of got to figure it out. So the first thing I'm going to do before I do anything else is I'm going to take an ink pad, and I've got a bunch of old ink pads, so I kind of sometimes have to figure out which one's working. But I take and I get my cookie cutter, and you still can use these for cookies if you use these ink pads. They're metal, so soap and water will take off all the ink. But always remember, when you use these metal cookie cutters, if you wash them, be very careful to dry them really well, because they will rust. If you've ever been to, if you don't own cookie cutters, if you've ever been to a yard sale and you've seen old rusty cookie cutters. Okay, this one's not doing the best. Let's see, I might try putting some padding under the paper. Sometimes a thin pad will help. But I think this ink pad is probably a problem too. I have a bunch of really old ink pads. I haven't bought a new one in a really long time, and for the ink pad, for the felt, it usually takes pretty good, but on paper these aren't meant to be a stamp. So let's try this over again. Sometimes that little bit of cushion will help it. And then sometimes I'll take the lid because I can get a more even pressure, and I'll go around. And I do this on the felt too with the lids. There, see? Now I'm going to do a couple of those, and I'll tell you why. Because after I get a few of them done, I'm going to draw one out based on this, and I'm going to copy that on the other ones, and then I'm going to cut out the different elements that I need to do. Like I need to do the hat in a different color and the face in a different color. So I'm going to print out or stamp out 3 or 4 of these and cut them out. So here's another one, and then again take the lid, and let me see if I can get this. I thought I'd show you a little bit of my drawing process. And I start analyzing the picture, and I don't like how this side is one way and this side is, I think this was supposed to be all part of this, but I don't like that. So I'm trying to figure out if I need to adjust my drawing, which means I would go away from the cookie cutter and I'd actually end up using these as templates to draw around, which would mean I would draw it out and then I'd trace it onto cardboard. I'd trace around it on cardboard because it's a lot easier to trace around paper on cardboard. once I cut out the cardboard template, then I could trace it onto the felt. But if you saw my lobster video, that's what I did there. I couldn't find a cookie cutter I wanted to buy. I found one that was similar to what I wanted. I printed it out. I cut it out and then completely changed it and made it mine, because there was no cookie cutter I could find that looked the way I wanted. The one I had was horrible. I didn't like it. For cookies it'd be fine, but not for an ornament. So I think that's what's going to happen here, is this is going to change to match this better. So I'll probably be erasing a lot of the face. Another thing I'm trying to figure out is the mustache. When I pulled up images of Santa, because it's amazing how you don't think about it, I was surprised to see that the mustache is quite prominent in most drawings, because I didn't want live pictures, I wanted drawings. And in most of them, now there's one where the mustache is just blended into the beard. But most of them have the mustache prominent. So I have to figure out a way to highlight the mustache, which might be making it a separate piece of felt. Now this might sound like a lot of work to you, but it really isn't. That's why you print out so many pages, because then one of them you will keep as your drawing, and then the others you'll cut out for your template. So like I'll cut out this part, my drawing of this, as one piece to cut out. The ball of the hat is another one. This part of the hat is another one. And then the different parts of the face. And then you put it together like a puzzle on top of another piece you cut out in one solid piece for the back. And it can be any color you want. You could make the back red. You could make it green, white, whatever color, but you will put all of this, you'll make sure the back is cut, the shape of your finished piece. And then you apply it all together onto a piece and stitch the sequins on, which hold all the pieces together. Then you will have a third piece that will be the actual back. Now in this one, I may not put much stuffing because it'll have 3 layers. So if I do put any stuffing, it'd be very, very tiny, because I normally stuff my pieces. But with 3 pieces of felt, maybe not. So I'm sorry, I got a text message here. Anyway, so that's where I'm at right now. So this is what I'm going to figure out. When I come back, I'll show you what I figured out and how I'm going to do the piece. And now remember, these don't have to be like realistic. They can still be, you know, like the eyes, they did like real detail, like creases in the hat and the lines on the face, and they did a lot of detail that you cannot do. I could do if I was doing embroidery, but to do what I'm doing will be a little bit different. Now I haven't decided if the face will be beaded or if I decide I want to paint on it, because you can do a combination. You could do a little paint on the face. If I'm going to do the eyes realistic, or just do a pretty blue sequin or rhinestone or bead. I haven't gotten that far yet, but I'll take you through every step to create this cute Santa and show you exactly how I do it. So I'll be back in a minute with the next step. Okay, what I've decided to do, since I stamped these out and I'm going to change it, that's not going to, I can't erase. So I'm turning it over and I'm going to trace around it with the pencil. And I'm going to trace around, well, I got to wipe, take a baby wipe and wipe all the ink off first. And I do warn you, it's good to have baby wipes on your work table when you're working with this situation, because you're going to get ink all over you if you don't. So I just do this as I'm working with it. And I take a baby wipe, and so I always have a pack of baby wipes and a pack of Clorox wipes in my studio for various projects. And then I usually have some kind of cloth napkin or a paper towel or something that I can dry things off with. So now once it's dried off, then I can go ahead and just trace around it, and just take a pencil and trace around it. And that way I got to hold it tight because it just moved on me. So let's see if it comes out okay. So that way I can erase the parts I don't like. With the ink, I'm stuck. I can't erase what I don't like. Sometimes when it's real bumpy like this, it can be a bit of a challenge. Now you don't have to have a perfect, doesn't have to be perfect, because if you are doing this to amend it, you're going to be erasing lines and changing lines around. So there's my drawn one. Probably not perfect, but it's what I need because I do not like this flat area over here. See, on here, they kind of put this weird little area on the cookie. That looks dumb. I don't like that. So I would rather reconfigure the whole piece and balance it so this side and this side look the same. So that's what I'm going to figure out. So when I come back, I hope to have had that all figured out and can show you what I did. And at that point, then I will cut it out and make all the pieces for the ornament. Okay, this is what I came up with. I don't know if you can see this. Let me turn, oh, I don't have my light on. Let's turn the light on. This is what I came up with. I still got to fine tune it a little bit. This side's a little higher than this side. But I've got a rough plan. The eyebrows aren't perfect. But remember, I'm doing all this with beads and sequins, so it's going to not be perfect anyway. Some of these elements will be done in seed beads or sequins or bugle beads. It just depends. But now I've got the face, which is a separate piece that I've got to cut out in a beige felt. So far I've got my red felt. I've got some white felt. Now I've got to go through and find a face color felt. And that'll be cut out for the face. The mouth will probably be a large red sequin. And then I'll do beadwork around it. And I'll probably have to do some kind of edging with beads around the mustache. We shall see. This might be a more complicated one, but none of the ornaments I do are that difficult. So keep in mind, even if I'm doing a lot of detail work, none of it is really, really hard. It's just detail work. But you can see this doesn't match at all, and I'm a matchy-matchy. I like things to match. So this is a rough drawing. I'm going to do a little erasing and get that mustache more aligned together. So when I get back, I should have a better drawing. Okay, so what I finally had to do is draw a line. It's not perfectly straight, but coming down through the middle of the face and try to get it all centered. Still not perfect, but remember, this is more of a cartoon and none of our faces are perfectly perfect on both sides either. So this I'm happy with. I'll fine tune this side. I'll cut this down a little bit to match that one because it's a little fuller, or I'll make that one a little fuller. I think I like this side better than that side. So I'll probably make this side a little fuller and then call it a day. And then I can start cutting out pieces. I want to put this through the printer though and make a couple copies of it. So that's what my next thing will be, is copying this and getting a couple copies so that I can cut them out. Or at least to have one to look at, one to cut out. So that's the goal to do next. Okay, now what I've done is I cut out all the pieces. I have all the little pieces that I cut out of these. I made 4 copies of my little drawing, and then I cut out all the pieces, cut them out, and pieced them together here. Then what I've done is I've laid out his basic face. The sequins I laid on his face are his cheeks. When I add a very pale pink seed bead with the very pale pink, and the rest of his face is going to be this very pale, it's actually called, this is called peach, but the one I'm using actually is called flesh pink. And that's this one here, which really isn't a pink, it's more of a peach. And this is the one I'm using, which is a pretty old bag, because this is Cartwright's, and their bags look like this now for both sequins and seed beads. And this is one I bought from them many, many years ago. Anyway, that'll be the bulk of his face, but I wanted a little highlight of pink, just a touch of pink. Now his nose kind of blends in, but I had a heck of a time. The only two sequins I could find for his nose was this one that's very close in color, or one that was like it was called light coral, and it just made his nose stand out from his face. So we want him to have a nose. We want it to be a nose, and I'll try my best to make it prominent enough, but we don't want it to stand out so much that it takes away from his face. So what I've decided to do with the mustache is I'm going to secure the face on, do all the face details. Then I'm going to edge the mustache in a single bead all the way around, and then lay it down, and I will start stitching the sequins on the mustache. Then I can go around the mustache on the beard and get that secured onto the back, because I have another piece of felt under here, cut out like this one, under the whole piece. I've got bugle beads for the eyebrows, which are going to be arched like this one, but touching. This one's touching but not arched. So everything will be put in the right place. It's just kind of laid out, and every time you bump it, it moves. And his mouth is not right either. Everything needs to be adjusted, but I just wanted a basic idea of what I'm doing. And then when I come back, I will have edged the mustache. I will sew on his little eyes, and I will do his eyebrows. Now, I will show you on the inside of the mustache and the beard. I'll show you how I stitch on the sequins, and it'll be no different than that. As far as the bugle beads, I've got several videos, the cardinals and stuff, where I show that. This video will be way too long if I show you every step. But what I'll try to do is maybe, well, I was going to take pictures. It's just really tough, because if I do a complete tutorial on this guy, this is very detailed. But you can go to my cardinal video and several other of my videos. But basically, you just come up on one side of the bugle bead, go down, then you go, I don't know, I might show you the eyebrows. We'll see. But I'll be back with whatever I'm going to show you next. It's a very complicated little ornament, so I'm not really sure what direction I'm going. But I'm at least going to edge the outside of that mustache. I'll show that to you, and then we'll start placing the face. Okay, I've got the little mustache lined. And now I'm going to take and go around the edge of this with sequins and get it secured in place, so that, and then I might go up through the center and just kind of put some sequins. I don't want to go around the total edge, because we still got to secure this and all that, but I'd like to go around the edges and at least hold this in place, so as we put the other pieces on, this is secure. So I'm going to start doing that, and basically, to give you a quick rundown on what I do, I use beading thread, which you can buy in little spools like this at Joann's for $3 or $4, or maybe $2.50. And I take a pretty good long piece, because I don't want to have to cut it when I'm in the middle. And I just snip it. I just use a regular old beading needle, which you can buy these. In fact, I picked up a package just to show you. I meant to buy the thread too. Hildy and Joe at Joann's, and I think it was a couple bucks. It wasn't very, $3 or $4. And I just picked this up recently, and they're just 6 beading needles. It gives you a threader, but I don't usually use that. And so I'm going to get my thread ready, and then I'm going to come back and show you real quick just how to start the edging. Okay, so I threaded the needle, I tied a knot at the bottom, and then what I'm going to do is make sure this is all lined up where I want it, that all these little ridges are lined up as best I can. When you cut out each piece, no matter how hard you try, they're not perfect. But trust me, by the time you put an edging on here, it won't matter. Then I'm going to start up at this corner, I'm going to come up through, and this is how I do, so I'm not going to show you another tutorial on how I do any of the rest of it, because when I do the hat, the face, all of it will be done the same way. But you're going to come up through the felt, and you're going to go back down, because I come up through the knots on the back, I come up through, and then I go back, leaving a pretty good amount of space. You know, like there's the thread, and I leave a little bit and go back through. And there's a reason I do this, is to secure so the knot doesn't come flying through the hole. Now, this is going to bring this, make sure, and before I sew the first piece on, I want it to be completely lined up. So I'm going to keep checking it till, and if it's a little bit off in a couple spots, there's nothing I can do about that. Because when you cut out each piece, felt is a very hard fabric to cut. Now what I'm going to do, and I forgot to put these out, so let me get my sequins are right here. I'm going to pour a few sequins on the table. They're white sequins, and then I'm using the same beads I use for the beard, the mustache edge, which are a Cylon. They're called white Cylon. They look like a pearl, but not quite. They're a little more, got almost a transparent look to them. And what I'm going to do is, the sequins I'm using are cupped sequins. So this is a cupped sequin. And basically, it literally is a little cup. And it's got facets. And I'm going to flip them over so that it's cupped down. Because then when I pick it up with the needle and flip it, now the cup is going to face up. Then I'm going to pick up a seed bead. Okay, and then I'm going to pull these down, and I'll show you when I get it on there. Pull these down, and that's how it looks on the felt. The little cup is up, so it's like a little bowl, but then you're going to go back through the little bowl sequin, but not the seed bead. The seed bead holds that sequin on. So when you pull the thread, that sequin is what holds the seed bead. The seed bead holds the sequin on. So you want to make sure you secure it good. Like I said, don't worry if they don't match up perfect, because they're probably not going to. Because if you're cutting out each individual piece alone, they're never going to be, no matter how hard you try, felt just is hard to cut. They're going to always be a little bit different. And I'm just going to keep doing this. And basically I take the next one, and I take my needle, and I push, you can see this, I push the sequin up under the first sequin. I don't know if you can see that. Okay, and then I'm going to use my needle to pull it where I want it, which is closer to the edge, and I use my finger and the needle to push it as close to the edge as I can and as close to the previous sequin. But you want to go through both pieces of felt, because that's going to be the back that holds the whole piece together. Now I'm going to keep doing this all the way around the edge. When I come back, when I get to here, I'll come back and show you what I'm doing next. Okay, what I decided to do next is I got the whole edge done. Now I'm just tacking this. I'm just coming up through the face and just barely leaving any room and going back down. And I'm going to go all the way around to hold the face on to the piece. And I'm just literally going right next to the thread where it came out. I don't want to leave too much thread on top. And I'm going to go all the way around to here. Then I'm going to add this on, stitch that on, and then what I'm going to do at that point is go around this piece as well. I'm going to sew this one on, and then once that's on, then I'm going to I think at that point I'll come down here, and I'll wait to do the hat last. I'll come down, I'll put the mustache on the mouth, add the features in, and then I can go up and do the hat. It's one of those things I gotta kind of play around as I go. Once I get all the details in, before I even put in the hat, I'll fill in the beard, I'll fill in the white on the hat, then I'll do the actual red on the hat. And then when that's all done, then we take the two pieces, put them together, and stitch them together. But it's just one of those where I'm figuring it out as I go. But I'm going to go ahead, finish tacking the whole face on. Then I'm going to sequin around this piece here, just like I did down here. I'm going to set them up here, and I'm going to stitch around this whole thing. Then that'll just leave room for the hat to go on later. But it's important that I get all this in place before I do the face. I got to get the mustache on first, and then the mouth, and then I'll do the eyes, the eyebrows, the nose, and all that. Then I can start filling in the face with the cheeks and the face color and all that. So I'll check in with you from time to time as I'm doing it. After I'm done with this, tacking this down and putting this down, I'll come back and show you how I'm putting on the mustache. Alright, so I'll be right back. Okay, real quickly wanted to show you that these pieces are all put together now. Next I'm going to do the mustache, and I'm going to attach it so that it goes up like that. And I just wanted these edges done because then when I do the rest of it, it'll kind of, you know, look like it belongs. And then once I have the mustache on, then I'll start building the face. I got to put the mouth on, which is just a red sequin underneath the mustache. And then the rest of the mustache and beard will all be white. So when I come back, the mustache will be on, and then we'll start building his face. So let me get it up close so you can see. But I'm going to fill it in. So the mustache will be filled in when we come back. Okay, here we've got the mustache on, and it's filled in, and the hat's on, the top of the hat. Now before I fill in all of this, I'm going to go ahead and lay the face in. I'm going to start with the nose, which has to be above the mouth. Then I'll do each eye, and they're just simply done the way I did this. I go up, I tie a knot, I go up, I come back down, I come up, I put on the bottom sequin for the eye, the little blue sequin that goes over top of it, and then a little blue bead which holds the eye together. Those three will be stacked. I'll go through all of them, not come back through the bead, but come back through the two. And the difference is I'll knot it as a separate piece, where normally I go to the next one. Then I'll go over and I'll set the other eye. Once I have that eye set, and I'll do the nose first, and then I'll do each eye, then I'll do the eyebrows, and then I can fill in the face. But I've got to do the cheeks, and I decided to do a very light pink. It's called pale pink, and it's just going to be a few sequins under each eye. Will just be like a little tiny patch of pale pink. The rest will all be that, not peach tint, it's called flesh pink, and it's really more of a peach. So I'm going to do each eye, the nose, each eye, eyebrows, and then I'll fill in with this. But I'll come back when I got the features in before I do filling it in. I'll do the nose, the eyes, the eyebrows, and the cheeks, and I'll come back and show you that. And those are all done the same way I did this. The cheeks will be like 2 or 3 in a row on each side. So I'll be right back to show you how that all looks. Okay, I've got the features in, and I noticed that this side was a little lopsided, so I filled in with a little bit more white over here. And I might put a little bit more white here to be his hair, because it just looks a little weird. So I might put like a couple sequins over here. I'm going to fill this in. I'm going to fill this in. Then we'll do the hat, which I have right here. And then I'll be back. So, let me get this finished, and then we'll do the hat. And so I'll be right back. But this is... And I don't worry about it all being perfect. Like, I could have moved the eyes over, but the nose had to go into the middle of the mustache. So you just have to do the best you can. It's just an ornament. That's what you have to tell yourself, because I can be too much of a perfectionist. So I just had to let it go, just do the best I could, and then once it's all filled in, it'll look great. Alright, all the white's done. Now I have not done the rest of the face, but since I feel like I messed up over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a holly leaf here with some small red beads to give it a little detail on that side. Once I've completely finished the face, it'll go on top. I think that'll be a nice addition. It'll just give it some more Christmas color. But I'm not doing that yet. I've got to do the cheeks, a little pink on the cheeks, fill this in with the peach color, and then do the red hat. But I think I'm going to do the red hat first, and then I'll finish the detail, because I'm not exactly sure if I want to do the entire face or just the accents. Sometimes it's good to leave a little bit of the felt. I don't know if that's what I'm going to do. Probably not, because I just think it looks more finished if I finish it. But there he is, and it's very well. I love having the double thickness, because as you can see, I'm putting the double on there, so this whole piece is twice as thick. And then we'll put the red on the back when we're completely done, and that'll make it nice and thick. So I shall be right back with the hat finished, and then we'll start on the face. Okay, I finished the front, and I decided I'm going to leave that soft colored, it's a skin color felt as the face. I just think it looks better. I think you would lose the eyes and the eyebrows and all that if I tried to do the sequins. Now, I didn't do any blush on the face. I may do a little bit of actual blush or paint, or just leave it alone. I have not decided, but I'm real happy with him. So I'll be right back to show you how to do the edge, and then be back with the finished one, which you will have seen at the beginning, because what I do is I finish the ornament, then I film the beginning, and then I film the making of him. I used to do 2 or 3 separate pieces, but I just don't want to do that. But he's turning out really cute, and I will do the regular tri-edge all the way around. I'll do red up here, and the rest will all be white. So I'll be right back. Okay, now he's ready to get stitched together, and I've got the front and the back, and I've put just a little bit of cotton in there, and this is the stuff you get out of vitamin or medicine bottles. I like it because it's really thin and light. Just gives me a little bit of stuffing in there. So what you do to do the edging is you get yourself a nice piece of thread, and you start wherever you want to start. Now I'm going to start on the white, do all the white, and then do the red separately, because I want to do a red thread on there. But you're going to go in between the 2 pieces, and you're going to go in. I'm going to start right here, and I'm going to get in, and you want to make sure you come up between the sequins. You want to make sure you do not go up through a sequin, because if you do, you're going to lay the thread over the top of the sequin. Now once it's the knots between the 2 pieces, you're going to come in from the back in the same area to make kind of a loop. You pull carefully because it loves to catch on the sequins. Okay, and that'll give you a loop. So you can barely see that thread there. Now, once you make sure everything's lined up, because this is your last chance to make sure everything's lined up perfectly all the way around. Okay. Then you're going to go and you're going to put, oh, I don't know, I didn't have any beads out. Put your beads down. Now, I did not have any beads that I was really excited about using for this one. So I'm using, these are called a Toho Ceylon Pearl. And I like them, but Ceylon's a little bit more almost transparent than a pearl. And I would have liked it red. I thought I had more of a opaque pearl, but these will work just fine. Toho's a good brand of beads. Now for this very first stitch, you're going to pick up 3 seed beads. 1, 2, 3. And you're going to go back from the back again. Alright, and you're going to pull it again. And there's the 3 seed beads. I try to angle this camera so you can really see good what I'm doing here. And you're pulling this, hold on, you're going to pull it, and there's the 3 seed beads, and they're kind of at an angle. You're going to go to that last one that's going this direction, and that's going to set the tone for your edge. You're going to pull through that one, and it makes your little triangle. Can you see that little triangle there? Now, from here on out, you're only doing 2 stitches at a time, 2 beads at a time. And this will continue your little triangle. So again, you put 2 beads on. I don't know if you can see the 2 beads. This camera is not letting me see stuff very well. Then you go in right next to the last stitch. You want these, and you can just let the beads fall down the thread. Alright. The most important thing you do is make sure you do not go up through a sequin. So you're going to go back up right next to the other stitch. I get a lot of questions about the edging. That's why I'm trying to do do it again, because this is the one part of the ornaments that most people have had the most trouble with, because sometimes it's hard for me to show it. Okay, so now there's the next 2 stitches, 2 beads. Again, you're going to go up through that last one, which will pull it down, and then that's how your edge starts forming. See if you can see that. And you're just going to keep doing that. You're going to do another 2 beads. 1, 2. Like I said, you can go ahead and push them down the thread, because it's easy for them to fall off the needle sometimes, especially when you're learning. Okay, you're going to go back up again right next to the other stitch, coming up between or behind the sequins, and you're going to pull it again, and then again go up. You're coming up from the front. I'm going to show you kind of from the back. Like this. And just keep doing that, and you'll get this cute little edge that looks like a triangle, and it'll come all the way around. And when you get to the red, all you do is change the bead color. And sometimes it's like when you get to here, then you're just going to switch over to red. And what you do is use your eye to determine, because sometimes you have to put 1 white and then 1 red. And you just, if you put it on, you don't like it, take the needle off, pull the thread out, and redo it. But that's just how you do it. Now, being this is such a sharp turn, you can probably go straight here, then add 2 red and go this way. But it's really that easy. So I'm going to get him finished, and when all the edge is done, I'm going to come back and show you how to do the loop on top of him. But it's very, very easy, and it makes this nice edge on there. But if you can see what I mean, it's a little translucent. It's not like a real pearl seed bead, a pearl finish seed bead. So I'm going to be looking for some, because these are the ones I used on the front. They were also white Cylon. You can just see they're pearlescent. They just have like a kind of a clear, if this little bag shows you, kind of a see-through element to them. They're not they are opaque, but I can't explain it to you. If you put a pearl next to this, a pearl is more glossy, and these have more of a, I don't know, almost a, I don't know. It's just, but that's what Cylon is. You can get it in all different colors, and it's got a pearlescent type finish, but it's a little bit different than pearls. It's not quite as, I guess it's a little bit lighter of a pearl finish maybe. But I'll be back in a few minutes for you. It'll be an hour or 2 for me, and show you how he looks all finished, and then we'll do the loop. Okay, so here's our finished ornament. Now I'm going to show you how I do the loop. I apologize for the mower in the background. There's really nothing I can do. Now when you get more comfortable with it, you can actually come up underneath the sequins and come out and do what I'm doing. But for those of you that are new to this, what I do is I put my needle in here and try to find a place where it'll hang straight. And then that's where I want to come up through. And I'm just going to come in the back and come up through a seed bead. Like that. Now unfortunately this leaves a knot in front. That's why I try to do it from under here. So if you feel comfortable, you can just kind of tuck in underneath the sequins and just aim. That's a good thing about these long needles, is you can feel your way up until you get up through a bead. See, I came up. You can look from the back and see that you are indeed coming up through a bead. And if you can do that, then you can hide your knot. Now you need to, if you're going to do that though, you got to cut it really short. You can hide that knot up under the sequins. Now you're still going to have a little bit of a knot on the back unless you feel comfortable parting the sequins and tying your knot, but at least it takes the main knot and hides it. And now you're going to put about 6 inches of beads, and I literally take the ruler and lay it on my table, and I will put beads until I get to 6 inches, and then I will loop it through. So I'll be back when I get 6 inches of beads on my string, which I'm just picking them up, you know, just threading them on, just like this. I don't know if you can see. I'm just picking up the beads on my needle, and that's another good thing about beading needles is you can pick up quite a few. And so once I have 6 inches of beads on my string, I'll be back to show you how I loop it. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this, but I made sure it's probably a little over the 6 inches, but I just lay out a ruler and I measure out, and I just get from about 6 inches. It seems to be the right size loop. And then you're going to let it kind of lay down. Now, I came up through this seed bead. I'm going to skip over the middle seed bead. Well, let's see, I'm trying to decide which direction I need to go. So you want to make sure it's even. So it might go on this side. But you're going to want to figure out where you want to go, and then go to the other side. Yeah, I think it is this side. And go down the next seed bead next to the one you came up. So in other words, skip the seed bead on the top. Let me get the needle in there, and then I'll show you. I have to see what I'm doing. You don't want to get down through. So since I'm coming up through that one, I'm skipping the one on top and coming down through the next one. You want to grab a little bit of felt and go down a little bit like that. Now, one way you can make it blend is if you use a white piece of felt on the back. If all you have is white thread, then you won't see this, but I don't mind seeing the stitches. It's a handmade piece. And one thing you've got to make sure of is that you don't worry about perfection. Like this Santa, I can see so many things that aren't perfect, but I love his imperfection, and that's the thing. When you're making a handmade item, the fun part is it being one of a kind, being different. And this guy will look just as good on my tree with his imperfections as he would if he was absolutely perfect, which would be such a stressful way to do it. And then you're just going to tie a knot like that. And I go around a few times this way, then I go through a few times this way, and then I go back one more time the opposite way, and then I just cut it off. I just cut it really close so that you don't have too much thread showing. I don't want any tail. And you have a little knot. And there's the finished ornament. And it came out fun. And this time I decided to leave the felt on the face because I just think in this instance it was better. I was going to decorate the whole thing, and at this point in time I thought this would be better. But that's the finished Santa, and I will put this, sorry, that's my Ring doorbell. I will put this picture on my blog along with all the materials I used. That way, if you want to try to create him, you can. I don't know how to put this on there for you to print out, but I'll put them on there because I'm going to be honest with you. What I've actually did for my lobster is I thought I bought the cookie cutter, but I didn't. I found a cookie cutter I liked. I put a piece of paper on the computer and traced around that cookie cutter, and then completely changed it because it was the outline I liked, but I added more of a tail, and I made the legs a little differently, or the claws. So you could take and put this, pull this up on your computer and lightly trace around it and trace the features. I don't care if you reuse it. Or you can draw your own. You might be able to do a better one than I did. This is just a rough picture. But what I do is I trace it out, and this is kind of a stiff paper. It's not a thin, normal paper. And then I just cut out all the pieces. I cut out the piece of the hat, and I cut out the mustache, and all the different pieces, and then just put them all back together. And I cut out two, like I took the mustache off of this one. So My blog post will be up. I got to get this video up first, then I go do the blog post, and I'll put a link to the video. But I'll also put this guy, I'll put a picture of the cookie cutter and a link to the cookie cutter, and then I'll tell you all the materials, and I'll take some pictures of the materials, and that'll all be on my blog, which if you look below the video, you'll see where I've written a little thing, and it'll either say more or have a little arrow over to the right. Go on there and open it up, and you'll have, there's a link tree link. That'll give you all my links, and you can look for my Steffi's Beads and Baubles blog. That's where this blog post will be. So this will be up after the video is uploaded. So like if you catch this video the minute it comes out, the blog might be up first because I think I'm going to schedule this video, but the blog might come up after. I don't know. It depends on how late today I get this going. This video might come out on 4th of July, or it might, or the day after. I'm on the 5th. But my husband has the day off for the holiday. Well, he's actually off today, but he gets the holiday. It's considered a holiday. So all this information will be on the blog. It's just easier to put it on there because I can put photos than put it underneath. So if you want to have a picture of this, if you want to see all the materials, that will all be on my blog, which is in the link tree below this video. Anyway, I hope you'll like this video, and if you're not a subscriber, I hope you will subscribe because I've got some really fun ornaments. I kind of took a break from the ornaments for a little while, but now I've got a bunch of fun ones for Christmas in July, and then for the rest of the year there'll be at least 1 or 2 Christmas ornaments a month, and then when we get closer to Christmas I'll be back to doing them every week. But for the next 4 weeks there'll be 1 a week, and I've got some really fun ones planned. So thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe if you're not a subscriber. I find that most of my views are from non-subscribers, which is very interesting to me. So I'll be back soon. I've still got my Goodwill video coming out, and I've got a barrette I'm going to be doing for a friend of mine, and I've got a parrot ornament I'm going to be doing for a friend of mine that I was supposed to do last year, and then another friend asked me to do a jukebox, which I've got to design and do. So we've got a lot of fun projects coming up, and I want to do more than just the jewelry videos. I want to start really doing some more creative videos because that's what I started this channel for. So we're going to get back to our roots. I'm 3 years in, and we're going to make this next year a lot more fun. So thanks so much. I appreciate you watching, and I will be back soon.